Hey there, this is Gaurav. Welcome back with another video. Thanks for your love and support. So in this video, we're going to talk about encryption, different type of encryption, that is symmetric encryption versus asymmetric encryption. Well, so let's forget about symmetric and asymmetric encryption for now. Let us focus about encryption first. So what is encryption? So encryption is a way of converting actual information into a different format. All right. So now you might be asking, like, why do we need encryption, right? The answer to this question is very simple and straightforward. See, right now we are in internet era, right? So every time we are communicating means we are basically transferring our data and receiving some data from others, right? So data is very important here. It carries a lot of important information, and that is why you need to achieve data privacy. So whatever you are talking, you don't want that others should listen it, right? Because there are different hackers who are keep on listening on your data. So if they will get your data, they can do a lot of things, right? They can blackmail you and so many things. So we need to achieve data privacy. So those data need to be very much secured. So that is where encryption will come into the picture. So the purpose of using encryption is to achieve data privacy. So now let us understand one simple example so that this process will be clear to you. So let's say this is our actual information which you are trying to send to someone. This is I am Jonas. Now this data needs to be converted into a different format, right? So here you can see this is our encrypted information. So this process of converting data into a different format called encryption. So this is where it will take one algorithm and some key. I will talk about the key later, which is very important. So now your data is ready to travel through internet. So even though there are many hackers here and there, they will keep listening on your data, but they will not extract any meaningful information from it because they don't have the key and algorithm, right? So once the data will be received to the receiver, then again the opposite of encryption called decryption will happen, and the person will get the actual information, or I can say decrypted information. So this is how basically data is transferring, alright. So as in middle, data is traveling through internet. So that is why we need to encrypt our data in order to get rid of all those hackers. So here you can see one picture from WhatsApp. It is saying your message and calls are secured with end-to-end encryption, which means WhatsApp and third parties can't read or listen to them. That means whatever data that you are sending to some person, this data will be understood by you and that person only, no one else. Alright. So now let us see what is symmetric encryption. So symmetric encryption is a very simplest form of encryption, though it is not that good, but we should know it. We will understand what are the flaws that it has. So let us understand one scenario. So here we have Jonas. Jonas is from India, and we have Martha. Martha is from USA. Now Jonas wants to share some information with Martha, and the information is, hey Martha, I want to say you something that I like you. Now if you have seen dark web series, then you may relate with it. Anyway, so let's say this information will be traveled through internet. Now here I'm assuming that there is no encryption at all. So while traveling this information, like the raw or actual information through internet, if there is any hacker in between, they can easily get your data. They can extract those information, right? So even though data will be received to Martha, but your data will be hacked, and hacker can do a lot of things with your data. So we need to have encryption. So in symmetric encryption, you need a key, okay? And this key will be unique. Now you will use this key to encrypt this message. Like it will convert this message into a different format, which we have seen earlier, right? Now your data is encrypted with key. Now your data is ready to travel through internet. So while traveling through internet, even though there is some hacker in between, but they will not able to understand anything out of it because hacker doesn't have the key. Now the question will arise like how Martha will understand it, right? Because here Martha also needs the same key in order to extract the actual information. So before that, let us understand what is encryption key. An encryption key is typically a random string created with some algorithm to ensure that each key is unique and unpredictable. So here is your actual data or raw data, which normally we can call it as payload. Now we need to have encryption algorithm along with that key, that unique key. These two things together will convert this data into a different format, and that is called encrypted data. So this is the encrypted data you can see now after converting it, right? And hacker will not understand anything from it because hacker doesn't have key. This is what called symmetric encryption. Now we will understand what are the problem with it. Problem of symmetric encryption. So I already mentioned here Martha needs the same key what Jonas is having, right? Then only Martha can decrypt the message what Jonas has sent. So that is where we have the problem. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? See, the key also needs to be transferred through internet. Now here Jonas will share this key with Martha through internet. Why? Because they are from the different location. So internet is only the option. And that is where your key can be hacked. And again you can use encryption, you can encrypt your key, and again you need some other key, and this is something that will keep on going forever. So this is a problem, like your key can be hacked. The problem of secure transmission of secret encryption key. Now once your key is not protected, not secured, your data also can be hacked. Though the chances here is less compared to if you don't have any encryption, but still there is a chance. That is why though symmetric encryption is a very simplest form of encryption, but it's not that good, right? So in order to avoid this situation, as a solution we have something called asymmetric encryption. So it is a bit tricky, that's why I need your full attention for a few minutes. We will understand about it step by step and we can see how we are achieving data privacy, and this is something that we are using now. Let us talk about asymmetric encryption now. In asymmetric encryption, let's say we have Jonas, who is the sender, at the very left, and Martha, who is the receiver, at the very right. Alright. Now here, both sender and receiver will have a pair of public and private key. Okay, this is very important. That's why this encryption is also known as public-private key encryption. Now here, this public and private key will be created through some algorithm, some command. I will discuss about it in some other video. So here Jonas will have a set of public and private key. At the same time, Martha also will have a set of public key and private key. So here I have used some dummy key so that you can understand this all key are unique and different. Alright. Now let us understand about public and private key. So public key is something that you need to share it with receiver. Alright. And this is something which will encrypt your data. Your actual data will be encrypted, will be converted into different form using public key. What about private key? So private key is your own property. You should never ever share it with anyone. You should always keep it with you only. So this is a very important line. Again, I'm repeating. Private key is your property. You should never share it with anyone. And this key is used to decrypt the data, to extract the actual information from encrypted data. So now let us do all these things one by one. So now Jonas will share his public key with Martha, and Martha also do the same. Martha also will share her public key with Jonas. Now Jonas is having Martha's public key and Martha is having Jonas's public key. Alright. Now you might be thinking while sharing this public key, what happen if hacker will get those data? Okay, so let us assuming the worst case scenario that hacker will get both the public key, like public key of Martha and Jonas. Now here Jonas needs to encrypt the data right before sending. So here Jonas will use Martha's public key in order to encrypt the actual information. Already I mentioned the public key is used to encrypt the data, right? Now Jonas has encrypted the data using Martha's public key. Now this data is ready to travel through internet. Now this data will travel through internet. Again, you can ask that what happen if a hacker will get this data. Okay, let's say hacker will get this encrypted data. All right. Okay, so now the important questions. How Martha will decrypt this message, this information? All right. Now we already know that private key is a key that can be used to decrypt the data. But here we have two private key. Now here we have two set of private key. One is for Jonas, another one is for Martha. So which one will be used? Now let's see one important point. Data encrypted by public key can only be decrypted through same pair of private key. Let me repeat it. Data encrypted by public key can only be decrypted through same pair of private key. That means if your data is encrypted by Martha's public key, then it can only be decrypted by Martha's private key. No one can decrypt this message other than Martha, because Martha is having her own private key. And I already mentioned that private key is your own property. You will never ever share it with anyone. So there is no chance that hacker will get Martha's private key, right? So now Martha will use her own private key in order to decrypt or get the actual information. And finally, Martha will get the actual information. And you can see, though hacker is having public key and the encrypted data, but hacker will never ever going to get or extract data from here because hacker doesn't have Martha's private key. So that is how asymmetric encryption or public private key encryption is happening. You can see. So I know it is a bit confusing in beginning, but if you go back and rewatch this session, I hope that you will understand. This will make sense to you. And you can see how we're achieving data privacy. There is no way that hacker can extract your data. All right. Now here the sender and receiver can be replaced by client and server. So you can see whatever communication that we are doing between client and server, we are using asymmetric encryption. Okay. So do you know about SSL? We are using SSL in order to make HTTP to HTTPS. We know that HTTP is not secure. We are using secure socket layer SSL. We can make HTTPS, which is secure. So that is also where we are using asymmetric encryption behind the scene. Now I hope it makes sense and we have completely resolved the problem, right? So here we will never share private key. So one more thing, this is the same way will happen from receiver to sender. Like if Martha wants to share some information, Martha first will use Jonas's public key in order to encrypt it. And once that is received by Jonas, Jonas will use his own private key in order to decrypt it. Okay, hacker will have no idea what is going on. So that's all about asymmetric encryption. So that's all in this video. I hope you got some idea about data encryption, what is the importance of it, why it is needed in order to achieve data privacy. I also talked about symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption, the entire process, what are the flaws of symmetric encryption, how we can resolve it with asymmetric encryption. Okay, so a lot of stuff. So thanks for watching this video. We will see you in the next video. For now, take care. Tata. Bye-bye.